we already see a trend where organizations and teams are using AI to make better decisions and more complex decisions to understand their customers and employees better so that everybody can work more effectively together, not in silos or against each other.
Welcome to How to Grow Using AI, Machine Learning, and Intelligent Automation, a podcast by eClerks. We explore how AI and machine learning are being used to scale businesses from end to end. But that's not all. In each episode, our industry experts dive deep into topics like AI-enabled sales optimization, predictive analytics, AI-powered marketing, and machine learning for product personalization. I promise to give you the goods, the insights, and the strategies that you need to grow your business. I am your host, Nicholas Cole. Today, I have a phenomenal guest with me. Today, I have with me Iris Wang. She is the president, CEO, and founder of UniCloud Institute. UniCloud Institute is a professional education institute that specializes in holistic AI approaches. On today's show, we will explore the importance of holistic AI in driving business growth and innovation. But before we get into that, Iris, why don't you let us know just a little bit more about yourself and UniCloud Institute?
Thank you, Nick. So I've been working and doing research in different areas in the AI space for the past decade or two. I've done traditional machine learning, data science. I did research in knowledge representation and reasoning, which is a new field in AI that we will get into a little bit later. I've led AI strategy transformation initiatives, including AI product design, architecture, AI ethics, where I have trained and advised a lot of people and teams on AI, but not just traditional AI. I focus on doing AI holistically, and we'll get a little bit more on that as well later on. I've noticed that many people struggle to navigate even traditional AI, which focuses on algorithms and machine learning, let alone the other facets of AI that I have worked with that are just as important. And also, learning in general, especially professional learning, is just done poorly. So I have dedicated my career to transform education and learning to make it more adaptive, more personalized. And I'm starting with my own industry, AI, to help people and organizations build more sustainable skills and competence. I packaged all the different facets of AI into what I call holistic AI, which is what brought me to today's podcast.
So holistic AI, in a nutshell, can you explain what is that and how does AI play a role in that, and especially in the field of education? I know you have a different twist on education. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
It's a very big topic, so I'll try my best to make it succinct. I should first clarify that holistic AI is not at all the same as AGI, because I have gotten this question before. AGI is talking about a hypothetical future state of AI with human level intelligence. Think data in Star Trek. So that's more speaking to the product, or at least the capabilities of the product. Whereas I use the term holistic AI to describe the field or the industry, how we should build AI holistically. There are two sides of doing or building anything complex: to do the right things and to do things right. And that applies to beyond just education. And I'll touch on education a little bit, but in terms of when we talk about AI strategy, AI governance, and ethics, we are speaking to the first side, to do the right things. And the more technical aspects of holistic AI, knowledge representation and reasoning, for example, and algorithms, machine learning, the integrations and interfaces, that's more speaking to how we should think about how to do things right. I don't like throwing a lot of jargon at people, but I just did. So let me explain more with simpler terms. We would be here all day if I really want to explain every aspect of holistic AI clearly. So I'm going to use an analogy to simplify this. Let's say you are leading a project to develop some software. So Of course, you need software engineers and QA. They're very important, but that's not enough. So in holistic AI, algorithms play the roles of software engineers and your QA team. They're very important, crucial actually, to the success of your project, but they cannot do it alone. You also need your domain experts and your technical leads to provide best practices. And that's speaking to the knowledge graphs aspect or knowledge representation aspect of holistic AI. You also need your product managers, project managers, and senior leadership. In the world of holistic AI, strategy and governance, those areas play the roles of senior leadership, product and project managers. And of course, you need UX designers, and that's more referring to the human AI interaction aspect of holistic AI. And you need approvals from legal compliance officers. You need guidelines from your privacy experts, ethics officers. So that's more speaking to the ethics and compliance aspects of holistic AI. And in terms of applying this to education, I'll talk about education in terms of how to do holistic AI from two different angles. One is how we do our content design and advisory approaches. And the second angle I'm going to talk about is how we use holistic AI internally. First, we teach AI and advise organizations on AI holistically. We don't confine ourselves to just the models, the algorithms. We typically start by explaining the broader picture, including AI strategy and ethics, applications. And when we explain how AI works, we include, of course, the algorithms, the machine learning, but also the basics of knowledge representation, integration, and interactions. And then from there on, our participants and member organizations, the teams, can choose which direction to delve deeper. Because not everybody learning AI wants to become a machine learning engineer. So we've had team leads tell us that they have tried all the free and paid courses out there, worked with different consultants, but still don't know how to do AI. So we would tailor adaptive learning paths and guide them to explore down the paths that are most valuable to them, not just the buzzwords that are loudest out there. When it's time to put that learning into practice, we would iteratively help them sharpen their skills and build the methodologies and best practices based on their organizational context for both the leaders and individual contributors. We have a lot of very positive feedback on this comprehensive approach because, let's face it, in this day and age, one size fits all just doesn't work anymore. And in terms of how we use holistic AI internally, we have created a very comprehensive knowledge base that's constantly evolving. We leverage and also do our own interdisciplinary research, incorporating fields such as cognitive neuroscience, information science, and of course, computer science. And our vision and AI roadmap is not just based on industry buzzwords, but based on how to optimize learning and skill building to bring real value to our participants and organizations. We put a lot of emphasis on human-driven designs to strike a balance between learning challenges and engagement. And of course, we also use generative AI and machine learning, but never in silos, and always guided by ethical considerations. So after working with us, our participants and their teams tell us they're not simply just throwing AI models at problems anymore. They are now strategically using it to solve real world problems. They're helping their teams and organizations mature on their AI journey, not just applying quick fixes or putting on band-aids or adopting AI tools in silos. Algorithms oftentimes are still the star of the show, but we have helped them realize one alone cannot produce a phenomenal show. That's really exciting to us. And we are very determined to help more organizations and teams, individuals achieve their goals with holistic AI.
So you mentioned something very important there. You mentioned solving some real world problems, challenges that organizations are having. And so in that same vein, do you have any examples of how utilizing holistic AI has been instrumental in helping some of these challenges?
Absolutely. I do have some examples. And in the real world, we have even more opportunities than examples. And the research and adoption efforts are constantly evolving. But I'll use an example that hopefully is more relatable to a lot of people. I'll talk a little bit about a very interesting development in AI, which is the integration of large language models with knowledge graphs. So as many people know, LLMs or large language models are very good at processing and generating text. And knowledge graphs, which is something that most people may not be very familiar with, but essentially that's a way of organizing data and information into a network of interconnected information and knowledge, kind of similar to how humans think about the world or understand the world around us. So knowledge graphs are good at organizing information. Instead of just storing data, especially good at mapping out the relationships between things. So currently, large language models on their own can struggle with problems such as hallucination and understanding the connections between concepts. So knowledge graphs can store and organize information about entities, such as people, places, and things, and the relationships between them. If we feed knowledge graphs on top of free text into large language models, this structured representation allows large language models to access a rich source of factual knowledge and ground their responses in reality. In fact, this technique is called grounding. So when large language models are grounded with knowledge graphs, their accuracy is improved because knowledge graphs can verify information before responding, and that leads to more reliable and trustworthy outputs. They can also help large language models provide richer answers because knowledge graphs enable LLMs to grasp the relationships, not just individual data points between concepts. This can help them provide more comprehensive and informative responses. Like I mentioned before, the integration of large language models and knowledge graphs is still evolving, but the potential is very high. If we look into the future, then AI assistants that are created with this approach can engage more naturally in conversations, and their answers will be more insightful and comprehensive. And of course, that will offer much better user experiences. This is just one example where if we go beyond the algorithms, then the algorithms will become so much more robust. And the solutions that we build will be a lot more helpful as well. On top of that, when we incorporate good roadmap planning and user-centric product design and ethical considerations, AI can become so much more helpful. I believe that is how we foster meaningful innovation.
So you mentioned looking to the future. And so obviously there's a lot of changes going on in the world. Technologies popping up here and there. Generative AI, holistic AI, everything is changing. There's a lot of stuff out there. And so there's organizations out there that's saying, hey, I want to get started. Can you let us know what role does holistic AI play in driving business growth and innovation?
Right. So AI is everywhere now, as you mentioned, or at least everyone seems to be talking about it today. And that definitely makes even more demanding for organizations because it's a lot more than just automating repetitive manual tasks anymore. And organizations now need to focus on deeper transformation to create greater impact. We already see a trend where organizations and teams are using AI to make better decisions and more complex decisions to understand their customers and employees better so that everybody can work more effectively together, not in silos or against each other. So organizations now need to think about their AI talent strategy more holistically. We do see sometimes teams simply hire a few data scientists, and that makes them feel like they're doing AI. But that's not enough anymore. I know that's a lot to ask of business leaders who are already pulled in 1,000 different directions. But we are in a highly competitive world. It's constantly changing. So it's especially important now for leaders to carve out some time to reskill and upskill their people in order to address the complex needs in today's business environment. So make sure to train your people on strategic thinking. And if you need to, hire people who can do the strategic thinking as well and do more holistic problem solving so that they can provide guidance to AI and they can work alongside the AI applications. And I think that's the only way organizations can have people and AI work together to solve the complex challenges.
So with UniCloud Institute, are you one of those places that people can come to hire to get someone to come in to help them strategically define what it is they need to do? How can they grow? Can you kind of give us an idea of what happens when someone comes to UniCloud Institute and what did you do?
Absolutely. So we would create the solutions that are more adaptive and tailored to the organization's specific challenges. Because right now, you see that the trends that we see in the industry in terms of professional services or educational institutes is either one size fits all, as in the educational resources and approaches are the same for everyone, regardless of your starting point, your organizational context, or your specific needs. Or on the flip side, the professional services is typically done in a more reactive way. So instead of helping organizations figure out what their strategy should be and thinking holistically with regards to their broader organizational goals and objectives, the teams, especially in consulting, for example, the external consultants would come in and only respond to the RFPs and the very well-defined automation projects or asks. So I believe there is somewhere in between where we can find a better balance, and there should be a sweet spot where we help organizations with their specific challenges, but also think about the framework and the methodologies that everybody can benefit from. So I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but we typically start with organizations figuring out together where they are at today. And we explain the broader picture to include the AI strategy and ethics, applications, and also the technical aspects, including more than just algorithms, but also the knowledge management and integration, human AI interaction. So by helping organizations understand the bigger picture and the different aspects of AI they should think about, we help them navigate down the paths that are most valuable to them so they can choose which direction to delve deeper. We have found that this kind of tailored approach, where we iteratively help organizations improve their methodologies and best practices and help them sharpen their skills and build their core competence and capabilities iteratively, that is a best way to adopt AI and improve AI competency within organizations.
So when you talk about implementing AI, obviously there are some challenges. And so in your experience, what are some challenges that organizations are facing when it comes to implementing holistic AI?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges is talent, but it doesn't start with talent because the leaders, especially senior leadership, now has a hard time mapping out their organizational goals to their talent needs. I talked about AI talent strategy a little bit earlier, but now that you're asking about this, the way organizations need to think about their AI talent strategy needs to start with their organizational goals and objectives and figure out which area of holistic AI they need to think about. Is it that they need a roadmap, or is it that they can afford to just dive into the specific capabilities, the more technical aspects of AI, leaders need to figure that out before they can go and find the right talent for their teams to address their business challenges. And I see a lot of organizations struggle with that. And I don't blame them because it's really confusing, even for people in the industry. So that's one of the things that we are helping leaders and business and organizations do to map out the current landscape of AI, where it's potentially going, and so that we can help them try different methods and different directions, guide their AI adoption, and guide them to build their AI competence or AI capability building.
So you mentioned the AI landscape and where things are going. Considering everything is out there and the possibilities that could come in the future, what technology has you most excited?
Maybe I'll answer this question in a slightly different way because I think in terms of the AI landscape, it's more than just the specific technologies. It's about the capabilities and the possibilities that AI as an industry as a whole can bring to us. One of the more exciting areas of development is in knowledge representation and reasoning. Also, I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but knowledge representation and reasoning is one of the new fields in AI. And people really aren't talking about these days, but there is typically decades of delay between academic research and industry applications. It does have very high potential to help us overcome the bottlenecks of traditional AI because traditional AI is typically trained on massive amounts of data instead of trained on interconnected information networks or knowledge graphs. So there is a lot of research and implementation that's going into knowledge representation and reasoning. And I'll shorten this to KRR, but it's still relatively new. These KRR models, they're relatively new and there's a long way to go before they are ready for large scale and cross-domain real-world challenges. However, these models are becoming more interpretable and more scalable because both people in academia and in industries are looking into how to make the algorithms and machine learning models more robust, more reliable. So as KRR models become more scalable, they can bring AI closer to real intelligence as they help us solve bigger challenges and more complex challenges. And as they become more interpretable, that will bring us closer to a more ethical state of AI because if we cannot interpret or understand what the models are doing, then we can't explain it to our users and customers. And that would make it a lot harder to build ethical AI.
All right. So Iris, you provided us some amazing insights. I just been sitting here and I've been wondering with all the changes going on, all the new technologies and possibilities of things to come in the future. If you had an opportunity to invite one person to lunch, who would that person be and why?
There's Gary Marcus for his contributions in cognitive neuroscience and psychology, how we can adopt an interdisciplinary approach in solving AI challenges and to bring it closer to real intelligence. There's Zeifei Li for her contributions in computer vision, and she's one of the top advocates for ethical implications of AI. Also, this one might be a bit of a surprise, Sir Tim Berners-Lee, because he's not really known for specializing AI, right? But he did publish the first paper on semantic web. And semantic web is one of the real world applications of knowledge representation and reasoning. So he was decades ahead of everyone else. So I want to hear what drove him to come up with this concept in the first place.
All three of those are amazing. And so I just want to remind you that you got my contact information. And so if somehow, some way you end up getting a lunch with one or all three of those people, make sure you send me an invitation. I would love to be in the room there too, at least like a fly on the wall. I'm sure there'll be some amazing information that will be spit out during that lunch.
I will.
I appreciate that. So, Iris, it has been a true pleasure, a true honor to have you on with us today. You have provided some amazing insights. Sure, our listeners gain a wealth of knowledge on today. And so we truly appreciate you for coming on. And to our listeners, be sure to tune in to our next episode.
Thank you very much, Nick.
Thank you.
How to Grow Using AI, Machine Learning, and Intelligent Automation is brought to you by eClerks. For more information about services and how we can help your business leverage the power of AI and machine learning, visit our website at www.eclerks.com. That's www.eclerx.com. Don't forget to search for How to Grow Using AI, Machine Learning, and Intelligent Automation on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform. And make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of our episodes. On behalf of everyone here at eClerks, thanks for listening.